Welcome back, everyone, for this Health and Happiness podcast. I'm Dr. Farzanna Haffizulla. Today, I am so excited. In the studio with me today, I have one of my incredible colleagues, Dr. Jacqueline Junco. She is chair of the Department of Integrative Medicine here at Nova Southeastern University's Institute for Neuro-Immune Medicine. Dr. Junco, such a pleasure to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much, and it's a blessing and a privilege to be here.
Well,
Thank you.
Excited to have your expertise here. You've done so much in your career, and now you're chairing our Department of Integrative Medicine. So can you share a little synopsis for our audience about what integrative medicine is?
Okay, wonderful. So the best way to describe it is integrative medicine integrates different modalities into treating patients. So what does that mean? That means whether it's incorporating nutrition, incorporating Chinese medicine, which is another thing that I incorporating sound healing, and other modalities which could make an impact in the patient's well-being.
I love that. And you know what struck me when you spoke to our internal medicine department is you really personalize your approach depending on what your patient needs. And that is the best kind of medicine, having that partnership and determining what's the best path forward and seeing, what would be embraced by a patient and what's accessible, what's affordable. So can you share a little bit more about how you take that personalized approach?
And I totally agree, because every patient is different, and every patient is going to present with a different situation. So one of the things that I do in the beginning is, before addressing what their chief complaint is, I try to see, where they live, what their family surroundings are, what kind of water they drink. I mean, it's more like a very detailed history. So it's very individualized. They call it now personalized medicine. And that way you get a greater scope of the person you're working with. And you build a relationship with a person. It's not just, patient, you say, oh, come in with hypertension, here's a pill, you're going to feel better. No, it's trying to establish a relationship to see why they have hypertension. Is it the stress they're going through? Is it something that they're eating? Is it some environmental toxins that they're being exposed to? So there's so many modalities and so many things that we could help them with that need to be, it's like a detective work, I call it.
It is.
Yeah.
It surely is. And I love that you take that deeper dive. So the first visit is probably one of your longest visits then.
That's correct.
You look at all, that 360 look, really.
Yes.
Right? And then do you have specific questionnaires that people can fill out ahead of time? What do you recommend as far as people learning more about what information they should come with to be able to answer these questions during that visit?
Well, we usually send them a big packet, and I say big, it is big. It's like maybe 20, 30 pages. And from there, they're going to input different, like what kind of house they live in, how long they've lived there, if they have any leaks, if they've been exposed to any mold in the past, what kind of water they drink. It's a very big environmental, but then as far as their health history, their family history, their social history, lifestyle factors. So it's a very detailed pack that we send out to them, and then we'll have it, we usually read it before they come in because it's pretty intense. And then we just start from the ground up.
I love that. So you give patients a chance to take their time to be able to thoughtfully answer these questions before they even arrive in the clinic space. And that's important. If you have that, those questionnaires handed to you right then and there, you're never going to remember all the details.
Oh, no, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love that approach. So this seems like a much more expanded social determinants of health sort of approach,
right,
which really lines up with health equity, which is music to my ears. That you do this.
Absolutely. Yes.
And then you talked about understanding the environment the patient lives in. We're living in a very overstimulated world. We have so much around us, technology, we have screen time, we've got this and that and the next. How do you then use the information that you obtain to determine a sustainable set of habits that may help our patients to stay well or even prevent disease?
Well, one of the things that I like to look at are like the pillars of health. So we start with sleep, because sleep is something that's very underestimated in regular practice. And I go into detail because it's not just, do you have trouble falling asleep? Do you wake up during the night? If you do, are you able to go back to sleep? How's your environment in your bedroom? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it cold enough? because there's so many factors that are involved in good sleep hygiene. So for me, one of the pillars that I address is sleep. And then all the other ones. Nutrition is very key. See what you're eating. Because we feed our bodies. It's not just food. It's fuel. And it's fuel that's going to maintain our DNA, our mitochondria. It's going to maintain everything, our brain health. So depending what you're eating, we have to either modify, adjust, eliminate, depends. Movement, exercise is the other pillar. Movement is important. If we're not moving, our bodies are made to move. And one of the things I say to patients, the body in motion stays in motion. If you don't move, you're going to get stuck. And then we live this lifestyle that now we're more on the computer, more sedentary, and it's so sad that in this country, we're so sedentary. We don't move as much as like in European countries. So you think, why is cardiovascular disease so high? Why is the lifespan decreasing in this country versus in the other countries? So is it because of movement? All these factors are together. And then there's so many things that we address in one visit. Again, sleep, movement, nutrition, stress. I consider stress the root of everything. Because that cortisol drives inflammation, whether it's in the brain, in the gut, in the organs, anywhere. And there's so many things we can do to prevent and modify these things.
That's right. And just building resilience in times of stress. We are in this very fast-paced world. So much is changing around us. There are different, stressors that we face just from even just looking at the news and seeing the rapid changes that are happening around us. So what are your top tips, to help to navigate some of these rapid changes and to build more resilience, have more joy, and maybe better healing?
Well, one thing that I forgot to mention is very important is that you mentioned technology. You see the kids now and the young adults are always on their phone. I mean, we get also hooked on that. The social media, it's constant. You see, you go out to dinner and you observe around you and you see families, everybody's on their phone. So you lose that connection, which is another pillar. It's the community, the connection, socialization. So technology has made a big impact on health in all ages. So I think that is one thing that we cannot, unfortunately, get away from because that's the times we're living. But how can you modify that? I always recommend, especially in the evenings, try to limit your exposure to your phone, your computer, your TV, because it's not just being on social media. It's also, the EMF radiation. That's right. So, you want to sleep with if you don't have kids and you're waiting for the phone to ring, you just put it on airplane mode. So you diminish that aspect right there. So there's a lot we can do. It's just that, are we ready to do that? Because I myself catch myself sometimes like, oh my gosh, I'm on the phone and I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
Yeah, that's right.
We need to disconnect, reconnect.
I love that.
To reconnect to our own self because it's hard.
Really slow down and enjoy the beauty around us, right?
Totally.
Take in nature. Take in the small joys that are really going to amplify our happiness in the end, right?
Because it's tough. We're living in difficult times. And like you mentioned earlier, we watch the news. That's another thing. I don't watch the news. I listen to the news when people say, oh, did you hear that? I said, no, I did. But it's like, I don't put on the news because why am I going to get stressed? There's enough stress going on.
Yeah.
We have stress that we deal with every day.
You're so
good
right.
stress and bad stress. So,
Exactly.
Why add on more?
Right. And simple things like, what? I love your smile. Just seeing your smile in the crowd of all of the faculty meetings brings brightness, right? So just simple things like that, right? That, like you mentioned, the human-to-human connection.
Absolutely.
And honoring that. Yeah. To me, that's just a beautiful, very simple way to remind us of that connection and the importance of it.
Right, because I think we're losing that. And it's very sad because you see the generations that are the younger generation, what's going to happen, when you lose that touch.
I know in previous talks you talked about, going outside barefoot.
Oh, yes.
Getting the sunshine. Grounding, right? Tell us more about that. And we're very blessed to live here in Florida.
Yes, we are.
Despite the rain right now.
Yes, right now we're But you got to embrace that too.
That's good too.
Yes,
exactly. We need
for
it,
sure.
right?
So another one of my recommendations with the sleep is, is waking up, first thing you do in the morning is look at the sun. If you get that morning at least 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you can, if it doesn't hurt your eyes, but it's not bad for you. You want to reset that circadian rhythm, get your melatonin where it needs to be so you're able to fall asleep. Then if you could do that barefoot, if you have grass or just being on pavement, just being on the outside, it's the grounding. We need the electrical frequencies that are coming from the earth. That frequency is going to resonate within our bodies, and it's going to create balance. I've had patients that I've recommended go outside every day for 10 minutes barefoot and just hum or do something to stimulate your vagus nerve. Just stand there and hum. It's amazing what they feel after like a month or 6 weeks. I mean, you're not going to feel right away, even though some people say, hey, I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel less anxiety. I feel less depressed.
I love that.
And it's amazing. There's in Japan, they recommend forest bathing. So why?
Expand
Why
on forest bathing for us, please. That would be amazing.
Right? It's like, hey, here's a prescription to go out to the forest.
I
Go to
love
the
it.
national parks. Hug a tree.
Wow.
Because it's improving. I mean, they're living creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to get the same energy that we get from food, because, we do get every food we put in our body, everything we put into our body, on our body has a frequency.
Yes.
Same thing with the forest, with the grass, with the rocks, touch.
That's right.
So it's so important.
And sharing that vibrational energy with those sentient beings,
Yes.
around us. So important.
Yeah.
So my husband is the one who gardens. He loves to plant. But recently we got like a trellis and planted some trees in there, some, floral plants and some herbs, and put some bird feeders up there. So now at least 3-4 times a week, we've got to go out there and refill all the bird feeders. And we're seeing beautiful cardinals and blue jays and just doves, gorgeous, birds coming by. But it gives us a consistent habit of making sure we go outside and enjoy, those beautiful parts of nature around us,
Yeah, because we don't have time, and we don't make time to be able to do that. And it's important to take time, and that's when you're more mindful. And then, you take a gratitude moment and say, wow, I'm able to sit here and look at these beautiful birds.
Yes.
Or look at these beautiful flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. It's a good reminder to slow down, reconnect with the beauty around us,
Yes.
recognize the vibrational energy of all the living beings around us, and that can heal us as well. But you also mentioned nutrition and eating well. A lot of times we don't recognize that a lot of the healing qualities of the foods that we eat, it's either underestimated or in a highly processed form, you don't get those same benefits, right? So your recommendations from an integrative medicine standpoint, what are some very sustainable ways that people could include, this is part of the In the Kitchen with Dr. H series as well.
Right, I was
so we
gonna
eat
say,
a lot
you're
of
the
colorful
expert,
fruits
but-
and vegetables, right? Yes,
Yes.
right? So it's more whole foods, whole fruits and vegetables, unprocessed foods, Is there a habit that you have, or do you have a patient story that you can share where a lot of these pillars came together in such a beautiful way that helped to either prevent disease or, at least control it and allow it to more quality of life for that patient?
Well, nutrition for me is key because, again, it's one of the foundations. It's very important because, as you know, everything we eat has an effect on our body. So when I see patients, I tell them, okay, let's see, what are you going to have for breakfast tomorrow that's going to make an impact? Is that going to make you better, or is it going to make you worse? And color, the rainbow. You need to eat as much color in your plate as you can. Mm-hmm. And I know that patients, I can't afford organic. I know it's difficult because, things are expensive. But at least trying to stay away from processed foods is key. Mm-hmm. Another recommendation that I make is when you go to the grocery store, stay in the periphery. Don't go in the center aisles. You don't need anything from the center aisles except rice.
Yeah.
Things like, basic things if you want to, if you eat grains and beans and things like that. But everything in the periphery is safe.
Yeah.
But everything that's processed, canned, in a box, you got to look at the labels. Thank God now with technology again, we have all these apps that'll tell you, is this good for me, if it's bad. But, bottom line is you just need to do what's right for you, and depends what's going on. I'll give you an example. I had patients with high blood pressure. I put them usually in Chinese medicine. One of the beautiful things we learn, like color, is therapy. So each organ in Chinese medicine has a response in that certain organ. So, like for the heart, I had a patient just eat red foods. Okay, that's Not just red meat, because red meat could be a little inflammatory.
Yeah.
But beets, anything
Tomatoes.
red, tomatoes,
Yeah.
anything, yeah. I mean, all those antioxidants,
Fantastic.
but because, and you think about beets, people drink beet juice and they have beet supplements now. But I had a couple patients that their blood pressure did dramatically better. Even hibiscus tea, which is another diuretic, good for
love
blood
that.
pressure. And the
Yeah.
studies are documented. 3 to 4 cups a day will lower the blood pressure. But you have to have that amount. So I've had a couple patients for sure that they've been able to decrease the amount of medications they've been on for high blood pressure just with nutrition.
I love that. So it's important to have the continuous follow-up or the continuity, right?
Yes.
To see how well those numbers are changing based on your
Right.
changes in the lifestyle as well, too, rather than abruptly stopping any treatments, right?
Right.
So it's a gradual process, but it takes time, and you
It
develop
does.
habits.
And everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, myself, for instance, I cannot do keto.
Yeah.
And when I did some genetic testing, I showed that I do not metabolize fats very well. So a high-fat diet, for my case, isn't beneficial. So again, it's an individualized treatment plan.
Exactly.
You know, what is right for you might not be right for me. So, you know, it's just sort of finding the right tools and addressing them accordingly, depending, everybody's different.
And slow down enough so that you can enjoy the food in front
yeah.
of you.
'Cause-
See how it makes you feel.
Yes.
And then share that information, you know, during
That's
either the
true.
visit or before to see, hey, you know what, I felt amazing with this. Or, you know what, this gave me a little bit more bloating, you know?
Yes. Well, food
Yeah.
diaries are very important.
Yes.
If patients do have trouble, you know, they get bloated, they get either constipated, symptoms of IBS, anything like that, I always say, you know, let's do a food diary for at least a week and then bring it in and we'll go over it. See, what is it? What are the triggers that we could find?
Fantastic. So this is yet another pearl of wisdom, you know, keeping that food diary
Right.
and seeing the things that make you feel good or how it makes you feel during that
Yes.
time. Because many times it's really hard to remember all of those pieces.
It is.
You know,
It is.
and then you get to see a pattern.
Yeah.
You know, we have patients on continuous glucose monitors, you know, who are diabetic, and many times you'll see which foods raise that blood sugar very quickly,
Yeah.
or which foods they eat first and then eat the one that maybe used to cause the blood sugars to rise faster, but because they shifted the order of the foods, you know, you no longer have that higher blood sugar spike.
True.
So do you work you work with a whole team of folks, of course, right?
Right.
And I know that there's a larger interprofessional team, you know, involved in integrative care. So if there is another, you know, pearl of wisdom from that piece, what do you recommend as far as maintaining that interprofessional team and ensuring that your patients get the best care?
Well, we do have a great team.
Yeah.
We have the environmental medicine, functional medicine. We do have a functional nutritionist on board. And then I see myself as the out-of-the-box doc,
Yeah.
okay? Because I focus more, again, on sound, on frequency, a lot of quantum, a lot of acupuncture. Acupuncture is
Wonderful.
amazing. I mean, acupuncture has been around for thousands of years, and I've had patients do so remarkable just with acupuncture alone.
Incredible. So tell us a little bit more about those modalities. I know in my allopathic training, you know, they really didn't talk much about that. I've learned a lot more about it being here in our College of Osteopathic Medicine. So share a little bit more about those modalities and how they work and how they can there's a complementary approach to Western medicine.
Sure. Well, let me start with my favorite, which is Chinese
Yes.
medicine. I got into Chinese medicine 30 years ago. I took an acupuncture course for physicians. And during that time, I was going through a lot of anxiety and taking medications. I took the acupuncture course, which was 300 hours for docs.
Yeah.
And I started getting acupuncture, and I was able to get off meds.
Wow. Incredible.
And for me, that's when I had my epiphany. I said, okay, I'm going to do something different. So that's when I enrolled in my preventive medicine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward to
Yes.
everything. And Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years. And unfortunately, we don't embrace it as physicians like we should, because it is so amazing. There was an article now in the New York Times that came out that spoke about the interstitium. I don't know if you saw it, but it even mentioned acupuncture there because it's one of the modalities that works. I mean, when you put in a needle, you're signaling to the brain that something's happening in that area. It's a micro trauma.
Yes.
But what it does to the fascia, it's amazing. So if you're using it for pain, that's one thing. If you're using it for activation of the parasympathetic nervous system in the vagus, it's amazing. I mean, that's what it does, 100%. So I use acupuncture on everybody.
Yeah.
Because as long as they're willing to get needles.
Exactly.
Because I would say maybe 5%,
Yes.
I don't like needles.
Right.
I'm like, okay, and we'll do something else.
But
We could do acupressure.
Barely feel it, right?
Yeah, some are a little painful.
Okay.
The ears are a little painful, but I love the ear. The ear is a microsystem of the whole human body. You could treat the whole body just with the ear. When I was at the VA, I did a study for PTSD just using the ear. And they were able to reduce their sleep meds. Some of them were reduced some of their dosage of their antipsychotics. So it was a remarkable study just using the ear.
Yeah. So is this, you said acupressure as well?
Acupressure or acupuncture.
Right. So either or on
Right,
the ear, depending
on
on the area of the body that you'd like to impact.
And it's interesting because it's an upside down fetus.
Yes.
So if you have a headache,
Yeah.
well, besides this point right here, which is large intestine 4, pressing this point is another acupressure point. But the ear, if you massage the ear has branches of the vagus nerve. You just massage the ear if you're too stressed, you relax,
Yeah.
and you're good.
Well, I want to ask, those very big headsets that we see sometimes our children or others in the community wearing, how does that impact your health and wellness if you have that constant pressure on those ears, knowing the impact in the body? Is there
I've never
an
looked
effect?
into that, but there might be.
Yeah.
Depends how much pressure, because those things, some could be pretty tight.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know if your ear is pressed or is it like inside like a little...
So it depends on that foam, that's
It's like the people who wear the earbuds.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are inside right here. And right there is where we have the lung and large intestine meridians in Chinese medicine. So
Sounds
who
like
knows?
it's
I
a
wonder-
study.
It would be. That would be interesting,
You can,
right?
look at that in more detail and see exactly, what's happening there. Hey, stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, for next
more
next
information
one,
on
yes.
that soon. But that's
But yes,
incredible.
so Chinese
Yeah.
medicine is amazing. It really is. It's coming. I think it's coming more to patients' recognition. Medicare is finally approving it for low back pain.
Wonderful.
So finally, we get a lot of calls. Unfortunately, it's not covered by the majority of insurances, which is the barrier. Not everybody could pay for the sessions. So TCM, Chinese medicine, is amazing. My next one on the line would be sound. I work
Yes.
a lot with sound bowls.
Fantastic.
Our bodies are frequency, right? Every cell in our body has a different frequency. Everything we do has a frequency.
Very much.
So we need to be at a certain frequency in order for disease not to come into our body, right? So
Exactly.
depending on the vibration that we're resonating, it'll either fight off or bring in. So if you're vibrating your body at a certain frequency that's very low, you have more chances of getting infections, more even cancer. And then the higher frequency you are, the more resilient you are.
Yeah.
So for me, sound healing is amazing. It's something I incorporate into every treatment. When I see a patient, we have sound. We have red light therapy is another thing that we're using now.
Wonderful. So you combine all these. I think I did see a little bit or hear a little bit more about the red light therapy. Can you tell us a little bit more? I know that's also for anti-aging. People look at it for the skin changes and all of that. Can you expand on that a little bit more? Because that's been all over the news and, a lot of people
It's
talking
interesting
about it.
because a lot of people are using it for anti-aging because, it works with the mitochondria.
Yes.
So it's all about the mitochondria. I was at a longevity conference a couple months ago, the A4M, and the whole topic on every speaker was about the mitochondria because everybody's going back to the cellular level. But red light therapy is phenomenal. You just need to do it 2 or 3 times a week. So it's hard. Again,
Yes.
how do we, unless you have one in your house and you're able to do that all the time, I offer it to our patients. They come in, we get it done. Does it help? Maybe. For pain, it's very good too because it helps with the inflammation.
Fantastic.
Because we have the infrared and the near infrared, which work at different levels.
And this is whole body infrared?
Whole body.
Whole body.
Yeah.
So not just the face, not just
No.
one part of the body. Do you have benefit, though, if you concentrate it in one area of the body?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
They sell the face mask.
Yeah.
My kids got me one for Christmas because they know I'm the anti-aging.
Yes.
I love all this stuff. So they got me one for Christmas. So I wear it when I
Fantastic.
remember.
Right.
At least once a week, I put on the mask.
So physiologically, what's happening when we use red light?
It stimulates collagen also.
So collagen, you mentioned reducing inflammation.
It does. It reduces inflammation. It works with the mitochondria.
Excellent. And we know inflammation is like the crux of many disease states, right?
It is. I think all diseases.
Yeah, exactly. So what about those infrared saunas, that have red light therapy and it's infrared heat as well? How does that factor into longevity? And I'd love to talk a little bit more about on the longevity side of things too.
Well, the good thing about the
Health
sauna
span.
is that you are detoxing also, because one of the things another pillar is detoxification.
Yes.
Because we don't detox enough. So the infrared sauna is amazing for that. Mm-hmm. And if you have red light in there, you're doing a synergistic effect. So you're getting a 2 for your buck.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of centers that provide the sauna with the red light therapy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And is there a specific amount of time that you should be in there? You said 2 to 3 times a week or 3 to 4 times a week or so forth.
I have some patients that do sauna every day.
Wow.
And I don't know how they find. Well, yeah, but I mean, they find the time.
You find the time. You need 20 minutes in there?
20 minutes.
About? Okay.
Depends on the
to
temperature. You don't want to go too high or too low.
Exactly.
But they have amazing infrared saunas.
Excellent. So how does that compare to cold plunge?
I personally don't like cold plunge.
Okay.
2 reasons. One, I have cold-induced urticaria, so I cannot do that.
Then definitely not.
But
yes.
in Chinese medicine, we learn that cold stagnates. What that means is that it constricts.
Okay. Yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
So when you have, especially for women, cold plunge is not recommended because of the the cold uterus.
Yes.
Anybody who has fibroids, anybody who has PCOS or endometriosis, anything like that, you do not want to do cold plunges. It's totally, in Chinese medicine, it's looked at like, no way.
Is there any place for it that
It
makes
is.
sense?
Athletes do it, and it's great. And for recovery, it's very good. Mm-hmm. I don't have nothing against it. Personally, I recommend it to athletes all the time.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's talk more about the detox side of things. You mentioned, the sweating from saunas and the red light therapy and so forth. How else? We're surrounded by so many different toxins and chemicals. We're literally, it's hard to avoid any of it, right? So how can we navigate that and detox naturally?
Well, it's hard.
It is.
Because like you mentioned, we're breathing. Right now we're breathing.
Yeah.
So one of the ways through the breath work. That's where breath work comes in also.
Excellent.
Breathing in, exhaling, breathing out longer. The breath, the sweat, and the poop.
There you go.
And a lot of people have issues with that because people do not go to the bathroom. Constipation is so high.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I see a lot. People are not regular enough. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes back to the diet.
Yeah.
Are you eating enough fiber? Are you eating enough vegetables and fruits? Probably not.
That's right.
Are you drinking enough water? Because that's the other thing.
That's right. And moving.
And
right?
movement.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning, to movement.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, so for me, detoxing is very important because, again, the air, the water we drink, I recommend people testing their water in the homes because you're in there, you're drinking, you're showering, your skin is your largest organ. So you're going to absorb the water that's coming in out of that shower. You're going to be soaking in a tub with God knows what unless you have that water tested.
Now, how do you test the water? Do you have a specific
There's companies that come out and they test it.
Wonderful. That is a very important point. We don't think about these things.
No, we don't.
We're really immersed in all of these chemicals and toxins all the time.
And then for us women, makeup, lotions, perfumes.
Yeah.
If you look at the labels, I get crazy sometimes. I look at that, I'm like, oh my God, do I really want to put this on my body? No.
It's like an organic chemistry textbook, right?
Yes. It's like, what? No.
Exactly. Well, listen, I did a small part. I stopped any color in my hair. I've embraced my natural grays. But then you said, you're right, makeup and all the other things around us. We have to think about those things, right?
So one thing I recommend to everybody, there's the environmental work group. Mm-hmm. They have a very good website. They have an app. And you could look up anything, whether it's cleaning. Oh, that's the other thing. You clean your house. What do you clean your house with?
Right.
What kind of materials are you inhaling? Do you use air fresheners? Those are like the worst with the VOCs.
Yes, that's right.
So all these things you could find on that app or on their website, and you could put in Bobbi Brown or Chanel, whatever makeup you use, and it'll tell you what the rating is.
So for our viewers, environmental work group, working group.
EWG.
EWG, just look that up and plug in your product names,
Yes,
right? And you get
yes.
basically a little, it tells you everything
It'll
that's in
tell
it.
you a
all the-
rating from 0 to 10.
Wonderful.
How toxic you're putting on. How toxic do you really want to? It's an eye opener for a lot of things.
We will write this down.
It's really good.
Environmental Working Group,
Yes,
everybody. That's a pearl
yes.
of wisdom right here. That's excellent knowledge. We could see exactly, get a good,
Yes.
not only bird's eye view, but a deep dive
Right.
into what's around you, what
Yeah,
you're
because you
immersing
don't think
yourself
about the
in.
shampoo, conditioner, all these things are going in your body.
Exactly.
And then you're wearing them for long periods, especially like makeup, women,
Yeah.
creams, lotions.
Yeah.
All these things are toxic.
Exactly. You know, and I want to go back to the food piece, and we talked about organic food, etc. Is organic really the best type of food, or, you know, what should we look out for? Because I know that some folks, the way they label the foods, can make you think that this is the healthiest and best option for you when it really isn't. It was exposed to so many pesticides and chemicals. You shed a little bit of light on that with your expertise,
I
Dr.
always,
Junco.
and this is one thing with organic foods, you really don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
It could say organic, and it could be in a farm, and 5 miles or 2 miles down the street, there's a non-organic farm. The same water is feeding both of those soils.
That's right.
So sometimes if you could do organic, especially like smaller things like berries and strawberries, things that are more prone to pesticides, but if it has a peel and you could peel it, you don't have to. I would not. I mean, especially if money's an issue.
Yeah.
You could go buy with non-organic.
Right.
If
Like
you have
bananas.
to peel it,
and
like a
all those,
banana,
right.
things like that. But for like berries and
Yeah.
things that are going to absorb all those
Exactly.
wonderful things, yes, you don't want to. You want to try to stay away. But again, it's hard because you don't know what you're getting. Is it really organic or not?
That's right. Oh, you know, you do a lot of work as well, too, you know, in our medical mission trips, international medicine trips, and you're bringing this knowledge to different communities around the world. You know, how is that a different experience, you know, compared to when you're seeing patients here? What do you have to change, or how do you approach a patient in that environment?
Well, first, we're really fast paced there because
Yes.
we saw 1,700 patients
Amazing.
in February in the
Incredible.
Dominican Republic.
Incredible.
In 5 days. So it was pretty like nonstop. But
Yeah.
one of the things we address with nutrition is first what kind of food they're eating in that island. Like what is their staple food?
Exactly.
In the Dominican Republic, it's very starchy. So you're going to see more metabolic disease. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the main things we saw. Hypertension, a lot of salt,
Diabetes.
a lot of
Yeah.
diabetes. So we address things in that way first. Address, trying to figure out what is it that they eat the most of. All carbs. They can't afford protein,
Yes.
which is sad.
You know, a lot of proteins are plant-based as well. you know?
Yes.
And so do you, of course, share some of that information and see perhaps if there are local farms or other areas that people can have access in that community?
Yes, but it's so scarce.
Yes, of course.
Unless they could get like legumes and things like that are more accessible, probably. One of the things that I do tap into with them, which is fascinating, is their knowledge of herbal medicine.
Yes.
Because that's another one that I love, especially in these islands. Because
Yes.
they're taking. I had a patient. This was in Galapagos, though, like boiling the guanabana leaves, soursop, and it's anti-cancer. Those studies have been done.
Incredible.
If you have a bacteria, oregano.
Yeah.
So I love listening to the patients and getting their history because a lot of them come in, they don't want to take a medication because they know we're going to give them a medication. It's not going to be sustainable. So it's interesting to listen to see what they're getting from their own backyards.
I love that. And that really falls into our work here on this particular channel, not looking at the Caribbean and Latin American communities, but also, communities who are historically underserved or vulnerable in any capacity. Herbal medicine is a very big part of, what's used, as you said, rather than pills and other prescribed lotions and potions and
Right.
things like that. So let's talk a little bit more about some of those health benefits of some of the herbs. You mentioned oregano. Are there any other herbs that you want to highlight? There's a lot of cilantro that's used.
Oh, yeah,
and
cilantro.
rosemary and all the other ones.
Rosemary is
Yeah.
great. It's great for the brain. One of the board exams that I took was in herbal medicine for Chinese medicine during my master's, and
Yes.
we had to learn so many things about every single herb, because for the Chinese herbs they use everything, not just not
Exactly.
just plants. So we had to learn everything, and it's just fascinating. But rosemary is great for the brain.
So
You know, people
dementia
don't-
patients?
Dementia, yeah,
Any-
memory,
anxiety, depression.
anxiety,
any of those
anything's
things?
good for the brain.
Fantastic.
All that's great. Oregano, again, antibacterial. Soursop, anti-cancer, it's anti-inflammatory, has high antioxidants. Avocado leaves, you know, and it's beautiful because it's not only you could use the seed as one type of medicine, you could use the leaves, and you could use the fruit.
Incredible.
Same thing with mango leaves, the seed. I mean, everything has a property. Everything is going to have a benefit.
So we'd love to read your book then, okay? We know you're going to come out with a book with all of these pearls of wisdom.
I wouldn't know where to begin. There's so much.
You've just got such a wealth of information. I can't wait to dive even deeper. We've covered so much ground already. It's incredible. So do you have any other patient stories that you'd like to share, or pearls of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience base?
Well, what I just want to say is life on this earth, we don't know how long we're going to be here. And making the best out of it every day is what's key. And it's not about, I think health is not just about, you know, being illness-free. It's about being able to move, being able to see your family, being able to dance at your great-granddaughter's wedding, you know, to be able to longevity. And how can we get there? There's certain things that we need to take into account. You know, we have to be mindful of everything we're doing. You know, we need to stop and think and just take a deep breath. You know, we forget to breathe. We breathe because we're alive and we're breathing, but we really don't get into our breath. So breathing, being moments of gratitude, being grateful, and in the morning when you first wake up, just take a moment and be intentional. What are you going to make a difference in somebody's life that day? I like to always wake up and say, okay, how am I going to make a difference or make an impact on somebody today? And then do my breathing exercises, do your meditation. And before you go to sleep, same thing. Just lay down, do some breathing exercises, and just do a moment of gratitude. What am I grateful for today? What did I do today? What am I grateful for? Because we have so much to be grateful for in this world. And it's just trying to make life the best for us and those around us.
I love that. That is absolutely beautiful. It warmed my heart and my soul just hearing you really anchor everything with gratitude. You know, it is a gift to be here. And we're here for a purpose.
Indeed.
And everything around us will help and heal us if we give it an opportunity to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So thank you so much. Do you want to share a little bit more about the breathing exercises for our audience so that they know exactly how to do that breathing exercise?
Sure, we could do a quick one.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
One of the things, there's so many breathing exercises. You know, there's the prana, the nostril breathing that they do in yoga.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I recommend is from the father of integrative medicine, which is Andrew Weil, and it's 4-7-8. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4. You're going to hold it for 7. And then you're going to exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. And then you're going to repeat that at least 6 or 7 times. And the beautiful thing about that is that on the expiration, when you exhale, is when the healing happens, because that's when you activate your diaphragm, which is going to be the main activator of the vagus nerve. So it's beautiful. So with that, we breathe.
I love it, everyone. You hear that? With that, continue to breathe.
Yes.
And hopefully you're listening to this podcast as you're walking outside in the sun.
Yes, in the sun, smelling the flowers.
Smelling the flowers, appreciating the beauty around you.
Yes.
And when you come back to your home base, you have a colorful bowl of vegetables and fruit
yes.
waiting for you.
Indeed.
Together we will help and heal. Well, Dr. Junco,
Yes.
Thank you so very much for joining me today. You shared
pleasure.
you're a wealth of expertise in all of these different areas.
Thank you.
You're sharing these beautiful messages with our community. We are grateful.
Thank you. And I'm grateful to be here and be able to make a difference in everybody.
Well, we love it. Well, you're a woman of the world and
Thank
a physician that we adore. So we appreciate you.
thank
You have
you.
to come back many times.
Yes,
Okay?
I know it was a lot of information, but it's overwhelming. We could go on.
No
just
worries.
Okay.
We slow it down, replay it,
All right.
however you'd like to digest it on your own time.
No stress.
No stress.
No.
Exactly. We live in gratitude,
Yes.
respect, and we'll honor the information. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for this episode of Health and Happiness. Please join us again soon. I'm Dr. Farzanna Haffizulla. Take care. If you're viewing this QR code on your phone, an easy way to access the link is to take a screenshot of it and then long press the QR code from the screenshot picture. Your phone should recognize it and take you straight to the video.